ladies and gentlemen. Today's encounter is a very brief but very important one. Uh, Only recently you would have seen that the Bank of Ghana has reported very alarming figures for our national public debt. And that figure that was reported by the Bank of Ghana excludes the $3 billion that we recently borrowed. Even if we are to use 1 billion of that to refinance maturing debts or to call back other bonds that were issued, our public debt portfolio should now be in the region of 320 billion. That means that in a little over 4 years, we've added about 200 billion to our public debt. It is becoming very clear that the phenomenal growth in our public debt is influenced largely by some people at the Ministry of Finance who have made borrowing their private business because they benefit directly through their companies when Ghana borrows. So we are no longer having to borrow because Ghana needs it, but we have to borrow because their businesses need that money in order for them to be rich. Only recently you would have noticed that the Bank of Ghana released a notice of the companies that have been contracted to be the book runners or the transaction advisors to the Ministry of Finance. One would think that those companies were contracted by Bank of Ghana. No. They were contracted by the Ministry of Finance. And so Ken Offoriatta, as the Minister for Finance, and Charles Edubuahin, who until recently, when the Minister for Finance returned from his sick leave, was the President's representative at the Ministry of Finance and has been nominated as a Minister of State at the office of the Ministry of Finance, has his company as one of the transaction advisors. Black Star Brokerage is a company owned by Charles Edubuahin. Data Bank is a company owned by Ken Offoriatta. So Ken Offoriatta and Charles Edubuahin have contracted their own companies to be their transaction advisors in order for us to borrow money. What it technically means is that they have also determined how much they will pay themselves because the Ministry of Finance fixes the rate at which these entities are paid. I've never seen anywhere in the world where people can treat a country with such impunity. That you take your own company, contract your own company, make him your transaction advisor, determine how much you will pay yourself at the expense of everybody else. And let me give you a few numbers. If you take the last couple of years, 4 years, our public debt grew by an addition of about 200 billion. That 200 billion, we also refinanced close to 70 billion of the loan of the loan portfolio that the NDC left in 2016. That's 70 billion Ghana cedis out of the 120 billion was refinanced. That means in total, government borrowing program over the last 4 years additionally has been almost 270 billion. Granted that this 270 billion Ghana cedis, about 10 billion of that is in short-term treasury bills, which are not bonds that these companies would have to book run. And granted that a further 10 billion is from other loans from development partners like World Bank, Africa Development Bank, and the rest. You still have a healthy 250 billion Ghana cedis that Ken Offoriatta's company and other book runners have had to assist Ghana to borrow. They are paid 0.35% per value. That gives you 875 million Ghana cedis in fees that Data Bank and the rest have had to share from the people of Ghana. This year, Government's total gross financing requirement is about 60 billion Ghana cedis. Again, you can offset about 10 billion of that for other financing arrangement and treasury bills in the gross financing arrangement. And you have another almost close to 50 billion that will be borrowed by Ken Offoriatta and his company and Charles Edubuahin and his company. In all, we expect a payment of 210 million Ghana cedis in fees and charges to be shared by these book runners. I hope you are seeing the picture I'm painting. These are very, very huge numbers. So the reason we are borrowing 60 billion, 70 billion, 280 billion is not because Ghana needs it. It's because some people need the money. Ken Offoriatta and Charles Edubuahin need that money through the fees they get from their companies. I am calling on them as a matter of conscience to withdraw those companies immediately. And for Charles Edubuahin, who is due for vetting tomorrow, to do the honorable thing and withdraw Black Star Brokerage before tomorrow. I want to assure them that this particular activity, I will not relent on it. I'm going to the extent of petitioning the IMF, the World Bank. I will petition the international investor community, and I will petition SRAJ to look into this. I will make their issuance of bonds a murky business in 2021. Because we cannot be suffering from the challenges that we have. Children just return from school after only 39 days in school to come and spend 3 months at home because we just don't have money to make facilities available for them to learn together. As we speak today, basic schools have had to run one of the most ridiculous programs. A semester that we all know to be about 16 weeks, even by adults, is now being run from January to June by little children. And the worst of it is that these children, after 6 months in classroom, are going home without writing exams because government can't even pay for paper to print questions for them to write. This is the challenge we have in our country. And you have the Minister for Finance and Charles Edubuahin thinking that they must borrow for Ghana whether we need it or not because their companies benefit directly. This is the lowest standard of fiduciary that I've ever seen. And it must stop. When you complain that they must fix Ghana, then they insult you because they are busy fixing themselves.